Hello, ladies and gentlemen out there in Radio Land. This is Pat and Pete in the morning. Or are we going with Pat and Pete in the morning? Tell them, Pete.
Oh man, yeah, let's. I like how out of all the names we talked about, you picked the one that I feel like we both were the least excited about.
Let's do the, what was it called? The Egg MacGuffin? This is the
Yeah,
Egg MacGuffin podcast.
brought to you by viewer support from people like you. I don't know. I'm trying to do the PBS thing. Anyway, yeah. So we'll come up with an intro. So right now, I'm Peter.
I will be Pat.
All right, so you'll be Pat. All right. I guess we are both. Or would you call us liberals, Pat? Are we liberals? Is that what we are?
We're extraordinarily liberal. Like, there's really no two ways around it. We could try to be like, no, we're libertarians because we're sophisticated and such, but no, we're liberals.
I'm gonna take a controversial stance off the bat here. I don't consider myself. I guess I don't know, man. I just people, they yell at me like you're just a liberal. You Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi love, and I'm like, I don't like them either, and I don't consider myself liberal because I'm still a little bit confused by the sliding gender spectrum thing. I mean, I respect people's right to be whatever you want to be. I have no issues with that, but
Right, and as soon as you start respecting other people's rights, you're a liberal. You're a
I
liberal.
I,
That's it. You might as well go hug a tree, you hippie.
I just want a better name for it. Like, can't I just be like a Jeffersonian Democrat?
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you're into Sally, 14-year-olds.
Okay, all right. Look, man, not I can't be. All right, fine. I'm never gonna be happy. Okay, I'm never gonna be happy because anything I do, I'll be called a libtard, or I'll be like, man, you racist, rapist loving, Jefferson supporting. I'm like, I didn't. That's not the Jefferson part I meant.
Yeah,
Um,
it's like the good parts of Jefferson. Okay, never mind. Yeah,
yeah.
sure, just lump me in with Roy Moore. Hey, in that regard, we're almost like conservatives if we like Jefferson.
Why didn't Roy Moore be like, I am a Jeffersonian Democrat?
Because he wanted to go straight for Jesus, right? Like, the Christian angle was his angle, so he's like, you know what? I'm like Jesus. And the girl I banged's like, the Virgin Mother.
Well,
Oh, wait.
the
She was
scary
a virgin.
The scary part about the Roy Moore thing is I just read I wish I could remember. I need to start noting these for future podcasts. It was a tweet from some guy that was like, "Hey man, look in the Bible. Okay, look, you married a 12-year-old. It's not weird. It's not creepy. All right. It's just the way people that don't understand the basic evolution of man need to get real, grow up." And I'm just like, oh, you like. This dude is actively advocating for so what, man? She's 12. That's the way it was done 2,000 years ago. Um, but if I take a giant rock and club a head of state to death and go, now I am head of state. I hold the clubbing rock. No one goes, hey man, thousands of years ago you clubbed the man in charge to death with a rock and you became the man in charge. It's biology. Get real and grow up.
I still love your Kermit the Frog other guy voice.
That's just like my voice for just real dumb, just well, guys, listen, okay? Ugh, man. Yeah, all right, so we wanted to do a news sandwich. Which you want to jump into my positive story first?
We could.
You're going to like
So,
this.
yeah, so what is your first positive story? And for the listeners out there, the idea is we're primarily going to be very negative. Well, at least it's our instinct to be very, very negative whenever it comes to topics. So we thought just so that this wouldn't be nothing but one giant hate buffet, what we were going to do is try to sandwich it in with good news on both sides of all of our stories. So we're not allowed to just hammer out bad things. We have to talk about some positive stuff on either side of each bad thing, so that it's more like a hate finger food sampler than a hate buffet.
Well, I was going to go with, the buffet is always like, hey man, we got 1 mile of fried chicken with with gravy and cooked in lard, but also there is a tray of salad lettuce.
And oh, the president, he is like the perfect fried butter stick. Like, oh, give me that. That it will that will clog the arteries and kill America in no time flat.
Well, I feel like you gotta amend that. He's the fried butter stick of hatred, where you're just like, man, I shouldn't indulge anymore. Okay, just one more Facebook fight.
Yep.
Just one more until the hatred carves me out from the inside.
Well, this is the hate buffet, so the hatred's a given.
I think the name of this podcast is eventually going to be like the Hate Buffet.
The pure hate buffet.
All right, you ready?
That could also be a good name, like. But,
you ready?
Yeah, all right.
You
what
ready?
Is the first story?
You ready? A little bit of good news for your week. It's been a tough week. So this comes from the Huffington Post. Family's fabulous pet chicken gets own obituary in local newspaper.
Yay, chickens!
The chicken's name was Big Mama.
Big Mama chicken!
It is with sadness that we report the passing of our all-time favorite chicken. You
No.
don't know it's an obituary. She's dead. We didn't
I
bury
missed that it's an obituary. I was happy about the chicken. This isn't a good story at all.
Not many
chicken.
Not many chickens deserve an obituary, but she does. And then they talk about like Big Mama came into our lives and like yada yada yada, like most obituaries do. It's just kind of cool that like
chicken.
We're in a world now where we're just like, chicken obituaries. That makes me less angry.
Yep. So, I guess bad news now, or do we go into another bit of good news?
Rest in peace, Big Mama. Well, I tell you what, I've got something for you. I kind of cheated. It's called Good News, and it's just a whole list, but it comes from Fox News. So, I'm serious. Fox News has a section called Good News, and I pulled it up, and then I immediately blacked out with anger for a minute.
Is it? Oh, God. So, it's not really good news then. It's just like conservative propaganda.
Right. You want to run through these propaganda points? I'm just going to hit the headlines, and we'll talk about them.
Maybe. Oh, you know what we haven't told the listeners about yet is that the real goal of this podcast is for us to be like the Alex Jones of the left.
Oh, yeah,
because we were looking around at everything that the left has, and it's all boring, right? Like, what do they have? They have Anderson Cooper. He's awesome, but he's no Alex Jones. He's not someone that a lot of nut jobs can rally around. And that's what we want to do, is to try to get the nuts into the fold of the left.
I like to
call it putting them to vote Democrat, then that's the best of both worlds. We don't have to get rid of the nuts. We just have to get them to vote for the right side.
I call it putting a little razzle dazzle on liberal politics. You know, a little jazz shoulders, if you will. You know, some jazz hands, right? Like, yeah, we respect each other's rights, but with pizzazz.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So here's what we're gonna do. We'll call this Good News Fox News. I'm gonna hit I'm gonna kind of hit the headline, and then we're just gonna comment on it, and then we're gonna move on to headline after headline. Right?
Sounds good.
All right. Here's good news from Fox. Army vet invited to State of the Union calls Maxine Waters boycott sacrilegious.
Huh.
Because, everybody knows that when you combine religion and the military, two great tastes that taste great together always, and nothing bad has happened whenever you put religious nationalism and the Army just all in one giant delicious sandwich.
Absolutely.
Yep. All right. Patriotic 7th grader climbs tree to save American flag. I don't care.
Yeah, well, I mean, good for him, I guess. About the American flag, I like it and all, but it strikes me as being like the modern Bible insofar as genuinely deplorable people like to hide behind it and say that because this exists, I get to do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And yeah, so anytime I see someone with an American flag avatar on Twitter, my first thought is not, oh, that's a patriot, it's, oh, that's an asshole, right?
Well, maybe some kind of point-based, maybe point-based citizenship system where nobody gets, we start from ground zero. And guess what? Nobody's a citizen now. You got to earn it, and there's points, and there's going to be a word find, and there's going to be a, what do you call that, where you have to, there's going to be a scavenger hunt. There will be America trivia. Yeah, I think that would be a better way to go.
Yeah, like I don't know, something. Just take the citizens test that they want immigrants to take and just distribute it to everyone.
That's
And
what's
if you, we'll just sort of do a, if you serve less than, I don't know.
well, that's what's
Never
weird is the
mind.
people that are the most patriotic seem to know the least about the country.
Yeah, they'll definitely be in the bottom 50% of that test, so we can start ousting them and see how they like it.
I think that's the only fair way.
Build the wall? No, you can't build a wall. How am I supposed to get back in?
Well, you should have studied better and known more about history. Oh,
America! I know America!
here's kind of a nice one. As honorable as they come, Bob Dole awarded congressional gold medal.
I still like Bob Dole.
You know, like I'm looking at this photo and I'm just like, does Bob Dole know where he's at right now?
No, no, no. He knows that his name's Bob Dole. He will tell you that. And that's about it.
He tried to eat it like a Werther's. Oh, a candy. Bob, no. You can't eat it. It's metal. We'll get you candy later.
Oh, the medal. I thought you were talking about his name. Like he just rolls it around in his mouth. Bob Dole.
Candy. Here's one that I have mixed feelings about. FDNY firefighter seriously injured on 9/11 donates a kidney to a stranger. Now, I don't have a problem with that so much as it just feels like, oh man, these people that have done so much for the country, we couldn't find anybody with a kidney. It had to be a guy who was already injured on 9/11. Like, how much more do like a couple of people?
Are they expected to give? Yeah.
Well, I guess this would have been more difficult if all those people that were against healthcare for 9/11 victims and first responders had won.
Yeah. At that point, it's just unless they didn't tick that box on their license, then it'd be much more difficult. If you're not an organ donor.
Let's see. I'm looking through. Some of these are just like, because it's like they're good news, just real like, ugh, like just what? Why would anybody care about this?
I don't know. Would you like to hear the good news that I dug up?
Yeah, I would, because we're pretty much.
Super obscure fact. Today is actually a lesser-known holiday called Groundhog's Day. In America, it's the celebration of letting a rat tell you the weather.
Yeah, that's about right.
So, if you didn't know, Paxatoni Field did see a shadow today, so that's 6 more weeks of winter. But fun fact, from 1887 to 2017, the groundhog saw his shadow 103 times and didn't see it only 18. So if you're playing the odds, of course this year he'd see a shadow. He almost always does.
I like the idea of we should make this way more American. If the corrupt official realizes that like the walls are close,
bribe the groundhog to say something else.
We gotta make it like a corrupt official and be like, if the corrupt official realizes that the investigation is growing close to catching him, there will be 6 more weeks of winter. If he doesn't,
I mean, yeah, whenever we get close to finally catching the president, it's going to be 6 more weeks of nuclear winter. But till that happens.
Right. All right, so you know what? Screw the sandwich. I'm just going to hit you with my good news, and then let's just dive into what makes us angry.
The very last bit of good news I have... Well, we could save this for the very end.
All right. Well,
so it is a sandwich.
Apparently, Daredevil Steve-O falls in love with a stray dog in Peru while he was on location filming.
I like Daredevil Ben Affleck.
Well, if anybody deserved to just have a nice thing about them, it was Steve-O. I've always felt kind of bad for all the Jackass guys.
Oh, I didn't recognize you were talking about Steve-O.
Yeah.
Don't know why that went over my head. Probably because I was thinking of the Ben Affleck response.
Because you were just like really into Daredevil, the movie with Steve Affleck. Ben Affleck.
And then Elektra right after that. Just the best set of movies ever.
That's gonna be my new whenever I have to go underground, like I will become Steve Affleck. And I will go into hiding.
Oh, you could be played by Gilbert Godfrey in the movies.
Perfect. Yeah. And and the CIA will call me codename the groundhog because I'm underground.
Yes.
So yeah, so the Jackass
Tying
guys,
everything together.
the Jackass guys, I felt real bad for because like I love their stuff, but it's just you can watch the progression of like when they're young, it's cool, like whatever, they're like early 20s, but as like the movies progress, they started hitting their mid 20s and like hit their 30s, and they're like, oh my god, we still have to do this for money. We haven't broken into less destructive means of entertainment, and you can just see them all going, oh god.
Yeah, that's sort of like us. Like whenever we were in our early 20s, we could be as destructive as we wanted to our bodies and just naturally heal up. And then as we get older, it's time to replace all those joints.
Yeah,
So,
they were just kind of the first guys to like be like, you know what, we should film what all 20-year-olds do and make millions of dollars off of it.
yeah. And it worked. It was good for a while. I don't know. I mean, they sort of have like the bad grandpa films and stuff these days, and that's less dangerous.
Yeah, what I really hope, and I'm very sad that Ryan Dunn died, um,
Oh.
but like I really hope that like one day when we're just like 80 years old, like all the Jackass guys will be like, we're all real old now, but we're gonna do this one more time, and then we just
Yes.
we get to enjoy one last Jackass. Yeah,
That's going to be wonderful. All
yeah.
right, now just stand right there, you little pecker, and let me punch you. Oh, oh
They
my
all,
hip.
they
He
all
just,
look like Bob Dole does now. They're all addled, and they're like, all right, we're gonna round them up for one last one. This is gonna be great.
yep.
All right, you ready to dig into the bad news?
Oh my God. Yeah, this is the reason for the season. What everyone should be talking about today. Actually, let's beat around the bush first, because initially my plan for for this topic was just going to be like an overall FBI conspiracy against the president. Because starting with FBI agent Peter Strzok, I think is how you say his name, he
Uh-huh.
called the president an enormous douche in an email, and there was like these texts and other stuff. And so people were trying to say, oh, this guy is he's out to get the president, and that proves like this deep state conspiracy to stop Trump. And but the funny part being is that he co-wrote the memo that Comey had released a week before the presidential election, which very likely lost Hillary the election, like right at the last minute. Because keep in mind, the election was lost to her by 70,000 votes across 3 states, Michigan, Wisconsin, and miscellaneous. So, and
I think you mispronounced miscellaneous. I think it's pronounced Russia.
yeah, oh no, she lost bigly in Russia, believe me. Believe me, folks, okay?
Tremendously.
So yeah, this guy that everyone's saying is the big out to get Trump guy probably gave Trump all of his power.
I wanna ask a clarifying question, if I may.
Yar.
Okay, in my understanding, a memo can be any note that you write and call a memo. Am I correct in this?
Yes, yes.
So,
Okay, we'll jump straight. We'll jump straight into it and
well, I
say
just want to
this
preface.
happened today, so our entire conversation has to be about just this. Go ahead.
Well, I just preface it with anytime I write a note to like remember to like take the trash out, that's an internal memo, right? From my own
Yeah,
household. So a
yeah. This
dude,
is just a fucking thing a guy wrote. That's it.
yeah.
He wrote down his thoughts, his extraordinarily biased thoughts,
Now here's
because
my
he is a proven Trump shill. Like, he's the guy that sprinted to the White House to warn the president that something is up and give him talking points in the past whenever investigations were coming his way. This guy's been bending over backwards for the
so
president. He would do
here's my
anything for
problem.
him.
If you're a gigantic a hole, it's
Yes.
so is it bias if just people don't like you? Like that would be like saying that like if you're a doctor, you can't treat syphilis because you
Because you're
don't.
biased against the syphilis, right? Right.
Yeah, well, yeah, no
In
one likes
in,
syphilis.
Tr- in Trump supporters' minds, in the deplorables' minds, anytime you don't love the president, you're biased against him. Period. Full stop. And that's why they call so many of the Republicans cuck publicans, because they're not 100% marching in lockstep. Now, a lot of them are, and more of them have since he became president. But in particular, back whenever he was still just the candidate, a lot of them were not on his side at all.
I got in an argument with a guy who's like, "He's our president. We need to respect him. He's in power right now, like it or not." And I go, "Well, like, you
So, how
know,
did that guy feel about Obama when he was president? I bet he had a different thing to
well,
say then.
not
I
even
guarantee
that.
it.
I think the basic idea that just because someone's in power means they deserve to be there. You know, this
No,
is me
not at
put
all.
this is me putting my history teacher hat on. You know, the founding fathers talked a little bit about that, and they called it the divine right of kings. There was an
Yep.
argument way back in the day when you had kings, when someone was like,
Hmm.
"Hey, why do you get to be king and I've got to eat mud?" And they're like, and they'd be like, "Oh, that's a very good question." And then they came up with an answer, and the answer was, "Well, you see, God and such, and God clearly must desire the king to be king because he is king, and must desire you to eat mud. Because if God didn't, then why wouldn't you be king?" And he's like, "All right, that sounds right. I don't like it, but that sounds right." And that was divine right of kings. Was just like kind of
Sounds good to me.
yeah. So this guy, without realizing it, because he probably couldn't spell divine right, um, was arguing that like the president gets to be president by like divine right, and it's like yeah, no, we all kind of agree that's dumb and that we should not do that.
I saw like the goofy meme going around of Jesus controlling the president's hand as he like signed a bill or something, and then someone else edited it so it was Putin controlling his hand. That was funny.
But nobody had the foresight to just make Jesus being like, "Stop hitting yourself, stop hitting yourself."
Nope.
Here's the other thing. I'm sorry. I know this is just going to sprawl out. So
But
if you're listening, get you a soda and just kind of lock in.
or something healthier. We're all about being health nuts over here.
So
We
everyone,
are liberals after all.
everyone,
Vegans
everyone.
rule.
That's not entirely true. Um, everyone that just goes on and on about like oh well, the Lord's in control and this, that, and the other. Have they not read the Old Testament?
Yeah, it seemed like he wasn't in control a lot, except, like 70 years after he lost control, it's like, okay, let's slaughter everyone and try again. It's like,
If
shit.
if there is a biblical God and he is in control, is it not far more likely he would be very more old that like Trump is an Old Testament kind of like
At
God's
which at
God's
which point, actually, then the person that says God's in control here might actually have a point, Peter. Because
right?
Trump is kind of an Old Testament God.
Well, not Old. He's definitely an Old Testament.
Maybe we're in the wrong here, and we should actually be worshiping him,
No,
like
no, no,
the
no, no, no.
deplorables do.
Well, that's the thing. I'm gonna learn you some Bible today, son.
All right.
Here's the thing, though. Just because God put somebody in charge as an instrument of your punishment does not mean you should worship him, because God also gets mad at that. Old Testament
Ah.
God is kind of like a difficult girlfriend, in that you're just trying to, well, what do you want? Well, I didn't want you to like him. I just wanted to, I wanted you to learn from that king that was punishing your people.
Also, isn't it God's will that the Antichrist rise to power? But I'm pretty sure we're not supposed to worship him either.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the thing. Like, so it's like you can be like, oh, the Lord put this guy in charge all you want, but you should also be like, but he is also still a bad man. I don't know why there's not room for sort of like logical. And I think comic books ruin the Bible for me. I think that's why I go, all right, well, the story arc has to fit.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to get off on that whole God thing, but I have a problem with people's basic God logic. Like, I mean, Old Testament God, they're like, the Lord's got his hand on everything, it'll be all right. I'm like, no, it won't. Like, he would tell groups of people, be like, those other dudes, I don't like what they're doing. I want you to go kill them. I want you to kill everyone that's related to them, and I want you to kill their dogs and cats too.
Yeah.
Which is kind of an interesting but crazy kind of like, why the dogs and cats? Because fuck them, that's why.
Calls Ghostbusters, right? They got to live together.
I guess. Anyway, so this dude, is it Nunes or Nunes? I keep wanting to call him
Nunes.
Nunes.
It's Nunes.
So correct me. This is my because I haven't read deep in the story, because you're our analyst, you're our analyst.
Analysis, analysis.
Yes, Patrick the analyst. So this dude basically wrote a memo. Who this guy is also deeply biased because he works
Extraordinarily biased.
he works for the president, and his bias memo is saying that the investigation into the president is biased because they don't like the president, but he's the president's guy, so he's also biased. So are we getting to the point where we're arguing for like an Aristotle kind of just like sort of like philosophy? Is that where we're going?
It's just like the deplorables are saying that the FBI are sort of like a Gestapo that's trying to take over the White House and oust the president. They're trying to make it sound like that's what the memo implies, when really all it is Nunes, Trump, and the White House are mad at the way Page was caught committing treason. Because Page, another Trump guy, was caught clearly committing treason, and every single time he goes on TV, he accidentally admits to more crimes he committed. And
I love it.
so and so the reason why he started being bugged by the FBI was because of the Steele dossier, Steele. That's a person's name, not like it's made of steel. So the Steele dossier was considered like the talking point on Fox News for the. Damn it! I need to turn off alerts because like Skype is beeping at me. Shit! I lost my place. God damn it! I tried to walk away from my computer, but I forgot I'm wearing headphones, so the beeping is following me. Okay, so
Are you sure you don't want to work for the Trump White House?
seems that way, right? Okay, so Fox News' marching orders for a long time now has been the Steele dossier was funded by Hillary Clinton. Ergo, we need to throw out the entire investigation. The FBI should not be investigating our president. However, the memo that Nunes released says that the investigation began because of Papadopoulos, not the Steele dossier. But then it like tries to double back around and say, but the dossier is also a thing. So the memo actually accidentally undermines the marching orders that Fox News has been giving out for a long time now. So that's funny too.
Here's my
But
bit of folksy wisdom.
but just to sort of explain the whole thing from the top, but he has released this thing which is trying to say that the way Page is being investigated because of the Steele dossier was discovered apparently, but now the memo actually says because of a separate investigation into Papadopoulos, they started bugging Page. And again, this is only about the investigation into Page and not the overall Russia-Trump investigation, which they're trying to say now that the whole thing needs to be thrown out because this guy who loves our president does not like the fact that he's being investigated, so he wrote that down on a piece of paper, classified it, and then the president declassified it. Boom, that's the whole memo. Like, that's everything. But oh my God, they're trying to say now Obama's legacy is nothing but one big dumpster fire. Huh, proves it. Hitler's the devil.
In
Like,
in my simple understanding, because I'm just a simple country lawyer. Patrick, it seems to me that if you were caught with your hand in the honey pot, how you are caught and the reasons behind your being caught with your hand in the honey pot do not so much matter as the fact that you have your hand in the honey pot.
In the honey pot.
I'll rest my case, Your Honor.
Yeah, that is absolutely it. They are arguing about the way that Page is being investigated and not the fact that he is being investigated.
It sounds like
it's not the fact that he committed treason, right? So he was caught.
It sounds like a guy that's defending himself in court, and he's just like, Your Honor, that's not fair enough. I had not been pulled over. They would not have found those dead bodies in my trunk. Yeah. I was wrongfully pulled over. The whole case should be thrown out.
But at the end of the day, I'm not sure if they really expect to fool anyone, right? Like, they're just making noise to whip their dopiest followers into a frenzy to cast doubt upon the rule of law in America. Like, they are trying to absolutely undermine the entire justice system, including the Department of Justice for some reason, which Trump completely controls. He has the fucking Keebler elf working there.
Well,
that guy's not going to turn against him, even though he recused himself from the investigation because he's more concerned about covering his own hide than Trump's. But
the biggest thing that makes me a little bit happy about this whole administration is that they are really not good at subterfuge. They're terrible at spying, and like they're real bad at it, and that makes me real happy because I mean, man, if they had anybody with a brain that like they just let kind of run things, we'd be in a lot more trouble. The bigger problem is just I feel like the Republicans that are kind of like just all right. So the whole thing I feel like about the government is you have your three branches. You have the president, you have the executive branch, the legislative, and you have the Supreme Court. Now, if each branch doesn't stand up for itself and kind of claim their stake in like this is my sphere of influence, you do not have the right here, then they lose power. And I feel like by Congress not stepping up to the president and falling in line, they're seeing a huge erosion of congressional power and a huge expansion of the executive branch. And I don't understand
The
as a congressman why you would want to see your own power diminished.
in both the Bush presidency and the Obama presidency, we saw an exponential growth in the executive branch, and that was something that Penn Jillette was always saying on Penn Sunday School. It's like even if you love Obama and think that he is, the perfect human walking on Earth, even if you trust him completely, you should not want to see him casting out all these executive orders like he's doing and taking on so much more power than the presidency usually has, because everybody who comes after him will also hold that power.
Yes, and that was my main issue with Obama. Like, oh, it's, great guy, like probably pretty decent president, except for the fact that like Bush, got the thumbs up to really kind of curb your civil liberties, and
Yeah.
then we got Obama, who was able, who I guess because he was trying to get stuff done, like was like, well, I'm gonna push executive power because Congress is pushing back, and then like someone's got to walk it back, and it's not going to be the executive branch. It needs to be Congress. But for some reason, Congress seems to be unwilling or unable to stand up and go, whatever your politics
I
are,
mean,
guys, we're friggin' Congress, and we're going to tell you what's up.
I mean, 99% of congressmen, like the House and the Senate, wanted the Russian sanctions to pass, but the president blocked it, and they have done nothing to push it through anyway. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
if they can do anything.
Well, they can if they take, like the interesting thing was the way I was studying politics at one point was they said that like maybe it was until FDR or maybe before FDR, that Congress used to lead and the president would follow, and at some point it changed so that the president began taking a role in leading Congress, and it's been that way ever since, and it's not always been that way, nor
It's
should it be.
and it's because of God, with FDR, I guess it'd be radio. Because of that, it would be the president slowly became a star. He was front and center stage. It's just easier for the people to conceptualize one person leading everyone than a collection of people each representing their own, districts and states.
Yeah. Um,
So
one of
the
my
president became a superstar, and so then the will of the people shifted towards, well, we want him to have this power to properly lead us. And so the public's cognition of the president shaped what the presidency is, and that's where we are today.
one of my students asked me, he's like, "What does impeach mean as far as the president goes?" And I go, "Well, it's kind of like
It's
shaking a newspaper to a dog and go, you done bad. Now you
yeah,
can
it's a stern talking to.
so yeah, you can throw the dog outside, but chances are you'll be like, you've been bad, bad, and that's kind of
Like
it.
yeah, like they impeached Bill Clinton and nothing happened, right?
Yeah,
So nothing could have happened. And you're saying, or some people might say, well, impeachment got rid of Nixon, right? No, it didn't. He stepped down before the impeachment hearings began.
I think
Like
Nixon
he
knew
saw
that.
it coming, so he
Yeah,
was like, ah, screw it.
Nixon. I think Nixon was smart enough to know that like he may have actually been removed from office. Like it was a serious like, and I think he understood the impeachment proceedings probably better. Because I still don't know if like they would even if they impeach this president, I still don't know if they would absolutely remove him from office.
And I don't see him stepping down. Like that's one thing that I've noticed
Oh,
over and over again is people keep saying, well, he can't do this, he can't do that.
yeah, he
It's like,
can.
well, who's going to stop him, right?
Yeah,
Like, what if he just refuses to obey the law? Like, nobody can do anything about it. You just kind of got to let him do whatever he wants.
like
And
we know
like,
that like
yes, the blue
once
wave is coming towards the end of this year, but my worry is that some bullshit's going to happen between now and the end of the freaking year. Like, Trump will provoke North Korea until we actually do go to war, or
well
he'll
he's
provoke Canada till we go to war with them, or whatever, and then they'll, you know, they'll have the wartime president, and it'll be super hard to get rid of him or any of the
Well,
Congress.
he already
We're
said
just
he wishes that a terrorist attack would happen to bring Americans together, and
he did say that.
yeah, and
Jesus.
there's
Because
a big
when Americans die, the president wins. Everyone listening should think about that.
there's a big argument that like we should go ahead and fight a limited engagement in North Korea to give them a bloody nose to really show them what for before they get the nuclear capability to strike the U.S. So he's actively trying to get there. I guess all we really need is for I don't know who's
I mean, there's
who,
really not too many people over there that you could do anything. Ah, God.
who's
Like
who's who's
they're
Jar Jar
soldiers. They're
who's
soldiers. We already know this from the one escaped soldier. Their soldiers over there are starved and full of parasites. Like killing them isn't really gonna change anything over there. You'd have to attack the Korean Trump, Kim Jong Un, for us attacking them to matter at all to them because all they care about is their dopey leader.
the
But our
best the best
God,
the best possibility for peace in North Korea, in my own personal political analysis, is to work on a limited or a slow unification between North and South, and get that dialogue going. And it'll be hopefully what happened between East and West Berlin, and that as sort of Westernization sweeps into North Korea, like there starts to be more of
yeah,
an exchange, more of a dialogue, and then eventually.
yeah.
Uh,
I think globalization is the key to world peace too, and
but
that's why both ISIS and Trump supporters are strong nationalists. They do not want globalization.
Yeah, because they don't want you to hear good ideas. They don't
Yeah,
want you to. That's why they don't want you. Anybody that's against like education,
yeah. That's why the
yeah,
GOP said for years, it's liberal college. It's just liberal education. No, it's just information, and reality has a liberal bias. I'm sorry.
you can't. To attack knowledge is a problem. Um, but yeah, like that. And here's the thing: is there's that whole like the nuclear disarmament of North Korea is the only way. And I go, all right, look, I don't want North Korea to be armed any more than I want anybody else to have nukes. But the realization that countries have is that some of these countries like this, the only power they have is that they have nuclear weapons, and that's the only thing that protects them from being like invaded in a coup or whatever is because the potential for nuclear conflict. And so they're not going to give up their nukes. I mean, you can look back to the
Yeah.
Ukraine, like in the '90s. I think we were like, "Hey, Ukraine, man, you really want them nukes? Because we trying to get rid of them. And I tell you what, man, if you get rid of those nukes, we will always have your back forever and ever." And the
And yeah,
Ukrainians,
we may have backstabbed him a bit on that, but Crimea River, am I right?
yeah, Crimea River, yeah, and then all of a sudden, like Russia's invading. They're like, "What do we do?" And we're like, "I don't know, man. Speak Russian." Like,
Yeah, it's the exact same kind of disingenuous. Do you have proof that our soldiers are invading Crimea? That I hear every time the Trump supporters are like, do you have any proof of that? Do you have any proof of that? Our president's not a criminal.
well, here's the thing: is just
It's
like,
like, because I don't believe that they really believe what they're saying. I think that they just want to distract and deter and to
yeah,
bide time until they're able to get away with it. That's what I think is going on right now with the memo, is that they're just trying to make noise
yeah,
to cast doubt upon the justice system, which brings me to my theory. It's only a theory, but I think that the president's getting ready to build a case for firing Mueller, so that once Mueller's out of there, maybe he'll be able to just sort of derp his way on through the other 3 years before he loses to, I don't know, Nancy Pelosi.
well, oh God,
That would be
no,
funny.
I don't want Pelosi. Like that.
I
That's
know.
what makes me mad, and that's what bothers me when people are like, and I argue with a lot of people
O-
online, and I shouldn't, but
Oprah Pelosi 2020.
they go, you liberal snowflake, you Nancy Pelosi loving Chuck Schumer have. I'm like, look,
So Schumer shut down, Peter.
listen, I don't like Chuck Schumer. Don't particularly care for Nancy Pelosi. I don't even fully trust Bernie Sanders, and like he's the one that
No, no, like, look, I both love Bernie, but I think he's a con man. Like, I get that vibe from him.
What if
I really do.
if an old dude came up to you in the street and was like, "Hey, what are all the things that you most like? What do you most want in the world?" And you're like, "Well, I'd like to pay off this college loan debt. And yes. Well, then, what if I told you?
Millionaires and billionaires will
Yeah.
pay for your college.
Yeah.
It's
What if
like,
I told? Yeah, what
okay.
if I? Okay, that sounds great, man. But like, how are you gonna make it happen? Like, you're telling me
And
everything I want to hear, and that's how every like horror movie starts. Like every
you know,
morality tale.
and you know why I don't really trust Bernie, even though he's saying a lot of stuff I agree with. Why I don't trust him? Because I've seen him in interviews, and when he's asked poignant questions, he responds with talking points. And as soon as I saw him do that, I was like, "Oh shit, Bernie! God damn it!"
Well, that's why I'm mad that he's there. Like, oh, Bernie Sanders on a 2020 run, and I'm like, you're not even gonna be alive in 2020. You're like 90 years old now.
Yeah, he's only a couple years older than, or is it 1 year older, or 4 or 5? Yeah, I think he's 5 years older than our current president.
Like,
I'm
dude,
trying
come
to
on.
remember because like Hillary is 1 or 2 years under him, and Bernie's 5 years over him.
Yeah, it's just like I love everything he says, but I don't see him being able to get it done. I guess we'll talk.
Oh,
Let's talk about
speaking of age, though, do you know how old George W. Bush is? He's like
75.
71. He's the same age as our current president,
Hmm.
except he was president like 20 years ago.
I heard a really great story about George W. Bush, and it made me scream at my like computer screen. They go, George W. Bush now spends his time painting photos and making paintings of wounded soldiers.
Of
And I
wounded
go,
soldiers? I thought it was of cats.
well, who knows? But I think the one I read was wounded
Oh,
soldiers.
cat soldiers! That would be wonderful.
Oh my God! We should send thousands of little cat soldiers into North Korea. That would be great. And they all have little messages. They have little messages, and they come in little parachutes, and just everybody gets to snuggle a cat. Who are we kidding, dude? They're gonna eat that shit in North Korea.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
That's,
It's
and I
not
don't,
plastic.
and
I
I
don't know how to
don't,
do a North Korean accent. It's
and
not plastic. It's a spice of the cataball.
I
And they
don't,
eat it.
and I don't mean that in like an Asian eats cats kind of like racist
No, I
way.
mean that in they have dirt over there, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean
Like
it like
their leader starves their soldiers. How do you think the people live? How do you think the people live if the soldiers are starved half to death and full of parasites? The
well,
people aren't doing well.
I'm telling you, I think a better option. So, because I'm like, oh no, Operation Cat Soldier went terribly, sir. They ate the cats, and then of course people are like, they're eating American soldiers.
Oh my god, they're eating the cats, and then they're gonna eat me.
So why don't we? Here's here. You want to fix North Korea? Here's what we do. We just fly planes over. We drop those plastic wrapped gas station burgers. We drop like copies of Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
They,
You
they
know
wouldn't know what the fuck a sandwich is. Like, oh, it's the devil. I've
they're
never seen
ban-
this before.
they ate the cats, but they seem to be bayoneting the burger.
Yeah, because it's plastic wrapped, right? So they like bite into it. It's like it's plastic, like all the other food in the grocery store, where we set it up for the American celebrities to come over.
American poison. Um,
Yep.
yeah, I mean that's. I've always said you want to pacify a place, you drop McDonald's in pornography, and you watch how quickly their soldiers go. Yeah, I'm tired of fighting war. I want to eat this burger and look at this. Free Brazzers account I just got.
Yep.
That's how you fix stuff, man. So yeah, let's talk about our 2020 nominations for a second because we were kind of on that because I got one I'm really excited about, and I know he'll disappoint me some way somehow.
Huh. Bob Dole.
That would be kind of great. We should really start pushing that Bob Dole 2020.
And people can't call us like liberal bias at that point because he's a conservative.
Bob Dole 2020. I'm old as hell and I'm not gonna take it anymore.
I love it.
Where did I leave my glasses? They're on your
Bob
head.
Dole 20. Bob Dole 2020. Oh God, it's early 2020. Oh God, I'm so old. I'm Bob Dole. Bob Dole
So
don't like that.
my real 2020. I don't know who we pick for vice president, but let's all admit no one cares about the vice pres. Is
Not a soul.
is Cory Booker.
That's why I'm kind of hoping that Trump's impeachment and arrest happens like on the other side of the 2018 elections. If everything goes okay and we do have the blue wave, then we really, if he and Pence go down at the same time, we really could end up with President Nancy Pelosi, and that would be hilarious because it's like, okay, I hate everyone that ever says, well, Trump's worth it as a president because it makes liberals squirm. But by God, if Nancy Pelosi became president, it'd be worth it because it would make deplorables squirm. You know what I mean?
All right,
Like,
you know
fuck
what? You
it.
know what? I don't like Nancy Pelosi that much, and I don't really have any reasons for it except for she's been in there forever, and I don't like anybody that's a career politician just because I believe that power is a
I,
corrupting influence.
I don't like her because she's kind of a showboat more so than a getting stuff done person, right?
Yeah.
I think that all the major showboats, like her and even God, even Bernie, I'm so sorry to everyone listening, but I just can't trust Bernie. But I think they need to retire and pass the torch on to worthy successors, like people that won't just try to push their ideas, but people that believe in their ideas.
Well, what's interesting is right now you're seeing the Republican Party. It would be like if we're on a ship and you just see the crew start like randomly lowering lifeboats and not saying anything and like paddling away. It's just like this is a bunch
That's
of them just like
that
not.
really that really is what's going on because a lot of them are not running for re-election, so they are just quietly trying to back away.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
because
They
they know
just
some major shit's going down. The ones that are running again, those would be like people that love power more than their own safety. They're like, you know what? It's worth it. Let's try
it's
this again.
it's kind of a lot of I feel like hey, where you guys going? We're going to smoke. You guys don't smoke. Yep. Yeah, we just started. We're gonna go smoke. But we gotta be 200 feet away from the boat to smoke. So we're gonna get this lifeboat. Where are you guys packing all that gear and everything? You're just going to smoke, and then they just jump in the boat and leave.
So just testing the good, yeah, and they just run.
Yeah, just run, just go. Um,
It's just like in Star Wars when Poe's like trying to get to the eject pod and the lady's questioning him and she's like, "Wait a minute," and then stuns him.
yeah. Just chloroform you and then just like sneak out of their own offices.
Releasing the Nunes memo is like just stunning a whole bunch of GOP people that are all like, "Oh God, we have to defend the president on this now." Because they
Yeah,
were secretly telling him, don't release that shit, it's dumb as hell. Like, the proof that it is biased is in the first goddamn sentence when it says the Steele dossier, funded by Hillary Clinton. It's like, first of all, it was funded by, oh, fun fact, it was funded by the exact same person who used to be a major donor to Nunes, that's right. A Nunes donor, a Republican Nunes donor, actually funded the research into discovering the Steele dossier in the first place, but eventually just passed it on to Hillary whenever he dropped out of the race.
it's like the human centipede got in a car wreck.
So anyone that just says Hillary funded this thing and doesn't mention the Republicans at all, clearly, not only is it biased by omission, but it's basically a lie at that point because they're leaving out key features. It's like if I told you, Peter, I was running 60 miles per hour down the road today, and you're like, what? Yeah, 60 miles an hour. Of course, there was a car, but I'm not going to mention that point. Well, that changes everything.
Yeah, it's just dumb, man. It's bad TV.
Yeah.
We're living through bad TV, man.
That's basically it. It's a script that nobody would believe. Everyone would say this shit's unrealistic, and it's like just the people involved are criminally dumb.
And I feel like and I'm not most people are getting dumber, and I think that people have
No,
more of a voice now than they've ever had before.
yeah, we have more access to hearing how dumb everyone is,
Because
more so than people are getting dumber.
yeah, back in the day you had a
Honestly,
couple.
people are getting smarter, right? On the whole, there's people are a hell of a lot smarter today than they've ever been in all of history. Okay,
Oh yeah.
but we're hearing this massive onslaught of stupidity coming from a shitload of people, so it seems like people are getting dumber.
The way I look at it is, if you look at these dumb people and not all the people I argue with on the internet are dumb, but most of them are dumb. Um, if you really want to be like they're getting dumber and dumber,
Some of them could be brilliant people, but just politically they're morons because they live in a Fox News bubble, so they never hear anything else and they don't want to research anything else
But has
because
anybody ever been
tribalism
accused?
tells them not to do anything that might go against their team.
Has anyone ever been accused of being smart who's trapped in a bubble? It's literally the easiest
No.
thing to get out of. The reason it's called a bubble is because it's fragile and easy to pop.
Yeah.
Oh, one more talking point you mentioned earlier, and I wanted to bring up. So what were you saying? You were telling me about the stock market is crashing?
Yes, this an interesting note is that the stock market plummeted more than 500. The Dow Jones plummeted more than 550 points today. Since the memo came out, the stock market has taken a nosedive, which has gotten me thinking that that could mean that insiders in well, on Wall Street, because you know that the Trump administration is closely tied to Wall Street. That's not conspiracy theory. Look at people on his fucking board. They're all Wall Street insiders. They are all, the who's who of Wall Street. Former, heads of banks and shit is controlling America right now. But anyway, so it's possible that they know that some major shit's about to start going down, such as, that, or such as Mueller getting fired, which would push us into the end game, or at least we're, let's say the beginning of the ending stretch where Trump's actually on trial and getting impeached and all that. That
Do
could
you,
be coming up soon, and so the release of the memo is their message that everything's coming to a head, so good times are coming to an end, and the fragile bubble, also a bubble, of the financial stock markets are starting to collapse. But
question
that's just a
about
theory. It could bounce back tomorrow, but this could be the beginning of a major catastrophe, financial
question
catastrophe.
question about the Mueller investigation. Now, have you read The Count of Monte Cristo?
Uh, no, I've heard of it.
Okay. One of the greatest revenge tales of all time. A guy is unfairly maligned, sent to like a prison for years on end, uh, and it was like a conspiracy by these three guys, and one of them was supposed to be like his friend. So they all had gripes against him. They got him sent to this prison. One of them married his wife. Like his father died while he was in prison. Basically, everything he ever had was taken away from him. Luckily, he meets an old guy in prison who like trains him and like he plans on revenge, and the guy educates him, and then the guy tells him about a great hoard of treasure. So he gets out, becomes rich, and he goes back to seek vengeance, right?
Right.
But he basically sets up all these sort of devices so that these guys and their paranoia destroy them all, and he tricks one guy into like suspecting and killing his best friend and all this stuff, and then like, right before the guy dies, he's just like, I made you kill your best friend. And he was like, ah! My question is, so is the
through that whole story, what was running through my head is one year in prison. Ah, ah.
is the Mueller investigation? Are they waiting to close the trap so that it will end with like not only like Trump like killing his own best friend, but like everything he loves burns before him and becomes ashes, and then in the very end he too dies.
Well, he doesn't have any friends, and the only thing he loves is cheeseburgers, so he could just order another one.
I mean, that makes me sad for cheeseburgers because I love cheeseburgers too. But come on, man. All right. I got to go off on another tangent, man. All right. So like, you live in the White House.
The
You
joke's on
have
you. I don't care about any of those losers. I win.
you are the president. You can basically tap anybody in the world who is like the best chef and go, hey, I want you to come be my White House
People,
personal chef.
he thinks that they'll poison him. That's why he likes to pop in at McDonald's and order from there.
Why can't
Because they don't know.
someone?
'Cause they don't know that he's coming, so they wouldn't have time to prepare the poison.
What, dude? All right. This goes way back to people. This dude is causing problems we've already solved. So during the divine right of kings, kings were often like, man, I'm real crappy. I bet someone would like to poison me. So they would just have a dude eat the food before they did. It's great.
Yeah.
You can even really just like if you really want to get crazy with it, you just have your chef dine with you. So he eats everything you eat. And the other thing about it
That's
is,
all.
this is my same problem, one of my many problems with like Kim Jong. So you own a whole country, right? You can do whatever
Right.
you want. Why would you not have the best personal trainer, the group of just be cut up, muscular, personal stylist, just good looking,
Are
great
you
gray
Kim
hair?
Jong Un?
Yeah, him or Trump. Like you're some of the most powerful men
Oh,
in the
you're
world.
saying why don't they? I thought you were saying that Kim Jong Un had personal
No,
trainers like that. I
no.
was like, what? Is it? Where's his muscles beneath all the
If
not
he
muscles?
if he does, it would be the first time he rightfully executed somebody because they're doing a piss poor job.
Yep.
But that's my thing. If you look at Congress, it's like Paul Ryan's like the best looking dude in Congress.
Yeah.
You have access to be great looking and in great shape and be real super healthy. Why are you the dumpiest people on earth?
I don't know.
I've been trying to get in shape forever, and I tell you what, if you gave me a whole bunch of money, I'd be like, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna hire a whole bunch of like special forces guys, and I'm just gonna guys, you're gonna get me in shape, you're gonna help me eat right, and you have full license. If I don't, 2 pound the
Huh?
crap out of me.
I mean, that's what Hollywood actors do. They just get the best trainers out there, the best dietitians, and they can forge their they can forge and reforge their bodies into any shape they want.
Yeah,
Like the
Howard.
guy from the guy that played Batman. What was his name from The Dark Knight Batman?
You're talking about not Christopher Nolan directed it. You're talking about oh, if you hadn't asked me, I could have told you, but I know you're talking about.
Yeah, that guy was in The Machinist like 6 months
Yeah,
before he was
Christian
Batman.
Bale, Christian Bale.
Christian Bale, yeah. So he turned himself into that skeleton from The Machinist, and then went all the way from that to super bulky and like 150 pounds heavier for Batman. So
Yeah,
that's what Hollywood actors can do. Congress should easily be able to do that too because they don't fucking work. Like most of the time they don't even show up to do their votes, and whenever they show up to do their votes, they just sit there until they vote yes or no. Like that's not work. That's
yeah.
nothing.
Man, I'd be in such good
Because
shape.
you know that they don't read any of the shit that they give them. All those bills, they don't read that. They never read anything. Just the lobbyists that write that shit tell them it's good, and then they're like, okay, as long as voting for this gets me money, and that's it.
So let's we're coming up close to the end.
Fuck all those assholes.
We'll have to end soon. I want to talk for a minute about if I were president.
Hmm.
I think what I would start doing day one, right? I'm pretty slovenly, pretty out of shape, right? I kind of look like a
Are.
bumblebee that just gave up on its body. So I'd immediately talk to my stylist and I go, okay, here's what I want you to do.
I picture you like pulling the larvae out of one of the honeycombs and just like laying back where it just was and be like, this is my nest now.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, it's like that. So I want to, I'd go to my stylist, you know, election first thing or whatever I was running. I go, here's what I want you to do. I want you to cut all my clothes or like tailor all my clothes to make me look terrible. I want to just look like the fattest, slovenliest guy, right? Cool. All right. So we do that. But then the plan is, as I start winning, right? As I start gaining momentum in my candidacy and whatnot, I then start like really I get those I hire those guys to get me in shape, right? So like people are seeing me slowly like Hulk out. So by the end of my first term, I just look like Schwarzenegger or Lou Ferrigno, where like I'm just flexing out of suits, you know,
Yar.
and just like you're just like I'm the most muscular president we've ever had,
At
and
the end of
every
the State of the Union, do like the big Hulk busting through the shirt flex.
we're gonna get this legislation passed, and then like the shirt just rips open. I would hire JR from the WWE as just
Snap
like
into a past bill.
I would have JR. I'd be like JR, look, I know the WWE is paying you a lot of money. I'm gonna pay you more, and I want you to be my news commentator guy. So like during my State of the Union, you know, he's just going, "Oh my God! Oh my God!"
I would definitely get a Paul Bear lookalike that to just sort of follow me around and go, President Patrick. Oh!
I feel like you could already do that with Pence. It's Mike Pence! Because that dude looks like a skeleton that still has flesh on it.
Yeah. Oh God, and he's probably going to be our president next. Oh.
I just want JR to be like, oh my God! He just took a steel chair to Wall Street! Oh my God!
You know, he never did say who our 2020 favorites are.
I said mine was Cory Booker, and then we kind of went off on Bernie.
Oh, okay. Poor Bernie. Look, everyone listening, I do love Bernie Sanders, but I don't trust him. So that's where I stand on that.
Well, you know, we're in an era where every
If
old
he was
white...
president, I would be fucking happy.
Well,
But
But like every old white man we've trusted, like 5 people step out of like, you know, like crawl out of their car trunk and go, he's been molesting me for 20 years.
Molestation's not funny. Kermit being molested is funny.
It's not.
The frog here.
I mean, that's just what it feels like. It's like you can't trust old white dudes.
Roy Moore. Yeah.
Roy Moore then cause he said he wanted me to touch his penis, and I said I don't want to do that. And
I thought it would be more innuendo and less direct. But
he told me I was nothing but a puppet, and he could easily be the hand inside me, and and threw me out of his car.
with Miss Piggy. Anyway.
But yeah, like, no, that's just the thing. It's just like, yeah, I think especially now, like, don't trust anyone because they're all horrible people. And like, I like the reaction to it where people are like, man, look, you just can't be anybody. No, you just can't molest people for 20 years, Garrison Keeler and every other white guy. That's what we're saying.
I picture Bernie's excuse for molesting people to be something like, well, at least when I do it on public transportation, on the public bus, not like up in the jets like the millionaires and billionaires do all their molesting.
Yeah, I feel like that's what's going to happen because he's so pushing sort of the socialist idea that like, and he's on his talking points and like, but Bernie, like, you've sexually assaulted over 100 people. And then he just goes back into like taking public transit or doing it in a public park.
Yeah. But
Yeah. So
man.
who's your 2020 before we wrap this monster up? Who's your 2020 nomination? Like who would you just be tickled pink if ran in 2020?
Oh my God. Is this hypothetical they ran and won or just they ran?
I'm gonna go with ran, I guess.
Because that's a very different answer. Just running in general? Oh my God, that's so much harder to decide.
No, let's make it real because I just realized if I say just run, you're gonna be like, I would like to see the resurrected corpse of the Ultimate Warrior and Voltron.
No. Because if it was ran and won, I would have gone crazy there. Because it's like, well, now I don't have to worry about consequences. Ran and won, I'd like to see Hillary Clinton come back and just be president, and that would be hilarious.
All right, who's her vice? Who's her vice president?
I want to say Tim Kaine again.
I liked Tim Kaine. He was a nice man.
He was. God, I don't know. But no, in all seriousness, I would be mortified if Hillary ran. I'd be like, no, God, no.
I mean, if we're talking about like ran but not won, honestly, I'd like to see the devil run for president.
Well, not necessarily win was my point. Because if it's just run, then I wouldn't say Hillary because I would expect her to lose. Like even if Trump ran again, I'd be like, fuck, no, not again.
If you're just talking about just like, oh, anybody alive or dead, who would you like to run for president? I would just be like, all right, run, but probably not win. The actual devil, pitchfork, horns, little goatee. I want to see the devil run for president because I want to see Fox News work. I want to see them. I want to see them spin it. I want to see them. Yeah.
You'd have to run on a Republican ticket, and Fox News would be like, well, Jesus always said of, oh Lord, how are we gonna spend this?
Look, okay. The devil told Eve.
Doesn't he have the right to do that?
The devil told Eve that if she ate from the apple, she'd be like God. And he was not wrong. I rest my case. Yeah, I just want to see, we're to the point now where, like, I just want to see the Republican establishment and I mean, like, the literal, not like, oh man, he's like that. I mean, like, actual Satan from the bowels of hell has come to run for president, and Fox News is just like, all right, we can spin it.
Yeah. Now, part of me wants to say Gary Johnson again, but he would run on the Libertarian ticket, not Dem, and I'm expecting either Trump or Pence to be on the Republican ticket. So that means I have to pick a Democratic candidate, and I don't know. You know who I would be thrilled about is someone that neither of us have ever heard of in our lives. Because, 6 months before the Democratic primaries in 2000, I guess it would be 8? Yeah, because Obama started in 9. Before the 2008 primaries, 6 months before that, nobody had heard of Barack Obama. Nobody knew who the hell he was. And then he just showed up and was a major rising star.
Well, that's like and still, like, the best they got on him is just completely like, he was a Muslim that was born in Kenya, and like they have nothing.
Kenyan Muslim.
The smartest thing Obama could have done was maybe just create a minor scandals to give him something real to talk about.
I mean, maybe, but instead he did decent job.
I mean minor, like in
considered.
a photo op, kick a dog.
It's like everything that he did that was like super fucked up was also stuff that the Republicans liked. So
Yeah.
they don't talk about that, right? Like he deported more immigrants than any other president ever before him, but their stance is he's soft on immigration, so we need the law and order president, which is code for he doesn't like black and brown people, Trump, to get in here and take care of the immigrants. And so because of that, they couldn't admit that Obama had deported so many people, even though that might have actually gotten them some Hispanic votes.
You still who's your 2020 run, man? Like, who do you want to see run and win? Who do you want to see fix this mess?
Honestly, feet to the fire, maybe Michelle.
Yeah, but my problem is she doesn't have any political experience at all besides being, and I just I get it, she's been in the White House for 8 years, but she was still I don't know, man, I don't know how much political experience you get as just yeah, I was married to the president.
Well, she would know who the best people to surround herself was, and that was your argument about Oprah, is that she doesn't surround herself by very good people.
Yeah,
but
I got in a
Michelle would know the right people to hang around.
I got in a big, not really big argument, but my point was I was talking to some colleagues at work, and they were like, "Oh, Oprah," and I go, "No, because they talked about the most important thing for a president is who they surround themselves with, and Oprah surrounded herself with Dr. Oz and Dr. Phil. And I'm not going to go into the whole thing about why they're not credible doctors, but Dr. Oz was sued for his stuff not working, and Dr. Phil, I think, doesn't have license to practice psychology and was also brought up on charges. So, yeah, while Oprah may be great, she's still a billionaire. And there are if you take I really want to see a black female president, good, more power to you. Pick a qualified black female president. There are tons of candidates out there. For instance, I guess Michelle Obama, if feet to the fire, is probably a reasonable candidate, I think, than Oprah.
Besides her, God, I don't know.
All right, let's. All right, so
I think that would be my dream candidate, but at the same time, I'm not sure if she would do that to herself.
Well, I mean, her family
step back into the political world.
Well, it's also her family has also been so much that can you imagine not only is she going to have to fight for herself, but it's going to be they're going to just bar. It's basically all the news agencies that were against Obama are going to go, oh my God, look, if she wins, we don't have to write news for the next 4 to 8 years. Pull out the old stuff. But did you save it in Google Drive? Yeah, just get out the old Obama stuff.
Yep.
Find and replace. Change Barack to Michelle.
Yeah. It's she was born in Kenya too. Yeah. Where's her birth certificate?
All right, so let's do one more. 2020 candidates. They can be alive or dead, but think wrestling tag team duos. What would be your ultimate 2020? I want this wrestling tag team duo, and we're gonna date ourselves because neither one of us has watched wrestling in 20 years. So we're going to be pulling some old stuff out.
Fucking, my first thought's I really, really want Bob Dole Undertaker, that tag team match. Bob Dole Undertaker cage match against, let's say, Hulk Hogan and Jerry the King Lawler. Those two versus those two, cage match, ladder. The championship presidency belt is up there on the roof. They have to lift up the ladder, climb it, get the belt. Whoever gets it, their team becomes president. The one who grabs the belt is the president. The other one's the vice president.
I love that. My pick for best wrestling duo, I'd have to say...
Wait. Let me back it up. The Bob Dole and Undertaker versus Stone Cold and The Rock. Because they're actually who I'd want to be president and vice president.
You know what? I don't want The Rock to run for president, but if he did run on a ticket...
I forgot about that. I forgot he was actually talking about running.
Well, here's my thing, though. Here's my thing. I've heard a lot of Stone Cold's talking points on his podcast, and you know what? If Stone Cold and The Rock ran on a double ticket together, I would probably vote. I would probably go against my I don't want another celebrity to be like, you know what? I'm voting for it. I'm voting for it. All right, so my duo. All right, vice president, and here's why: the Macho Man, Randy Savage.
Oh, yeah!
Recalled to life to serve as vice president. The reason being, Macho Man gives the best talking point interviews ever, and I would love to see the Macho Man supporting any president's just agenda. Now, for the president, I guess since we're doing wrestler politician, and I really got to think about this because I really don't like, besides Cory Booker, I don't know, it's just such a oh God, who's run what now? What did this guy do?
Booker T. Gold Dust.
Wait, for president, vice president?
Yeah.
No, I don't like Booker T enough to want him as president.
Okay, but put a pin in Gold Dust though.
Well, Gold Dust looks too. I feel like Gold Dust reminds me too much of the vice president we already have.
Ah, good point. It would just be Mike Pence again. Fuck.
Yeah. I guess I'm gonna go with the Macho Man, Randy Savage. This is so sad that I just can't think of a single politician that I'm like, oh, you should run.
Right.
I guess maybe the Macho Man, Randy Savage, vice president. Tim Kaine running for president.
You know, one person I would like to see run, which, fuck, I can't remember her name right now. I can only remember the president's goofy nickname for her, Pocahontas.
That's sad that we can't remember real political figures, but we can remember the derogatory name they've been called.
Right, and fucking Scott Adams would have a little smarmy smile on his face and say, "This is why he won, because he's able to get in your brain." And I'd say, "Fuck you, go draw Dilbert."
I would say, yeah, whatever, Scott Adams. You had money, but you kept going to work. So, who lost that lottery? Because Scott Adams was drawing Dilbert and actively making money with a national cartoon. But it's like, yeah, I'll still go to the office because, you know.
To be fair, that probably gave him more ideas for the cartoon. So.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but man, you know, when I write, I don't go, I have to go there.
Yeah, that's true.
My whole thing I'm writing about werewolves right now, I'm not I need to get bitten by some stray dogs to see how this feels.
Good point.
It's called
sometimes whenever you're writing fiction, you should just make it fiction.
Yeah, it's called use your imagination, dude. It doesn't have to, yeah. But no, I don't think that's why he won. I think he won because of Russian interference. And I don't think that all the analysts and everybody were wrong. I think
again, like I said at the very start of the podcast, he won by 70,000 votes across 3 specific states, but Hillary Clinton got the most votes by 325 million.
Yeah.
So she still knocked it out of the park, and people can say, well, she did bad because she didn't go to Wisconsin, and it's like, well, fucking herp derp the horrible. The current president we have, Trump, he didn't go fucking anywhere. People went to investigate his Florida headquarters, right? Empty. Nobody there. It's abandoned. It was just an empty address that they had put on a card somewhere. They weren't running a genuine campaign. They weren't fucking trying. But he still won Florida. Why? Because of targeted propaganda by fucking Russia.
You know, what makes me really sad is that, the United States used to be great at a lot of things, but the thing we used to be the best at was propaganda.
We suck at it now.
During World War I and II, the Germans were just like, I don't understand this. Why don't people like us? Listen, okay? We tell you we are going to shoot every 5th person. What is wrong with that? And the United States is like, oh man, quick! Germans shoot every 5th Belgian child. And then the Germans are like, yes, we did, but we told them we were going to, and we gave them notice. I don't see what the problem is. The Germans just couldn't. Yeah, the Germans could not understand, and the American just media machines oh boy, this is gonna play. Oh, this is great. And they were legitimate. World War I, the Germans were like, okay, Belgium, listen, we need to come through your country. You just let us through, and it will be good, okay? And the Belgians were like, yeah, we don't want to do that. And so the Germans basically had to invade Belgium because Belgium wouldn't step aside to let Germany through. And so Germany's occupying Belgium, and this is all true. And they go, okay, just so you know, anyone found burning the bridges, blowing up the things we need, will be shot as a spy and partisan. Cool, okay. And then the Belgians immediately started blowing stuff up. And the Germans are like, okay, listen, we are trying to be very nice, but you are not, I feel like maybe there is a translation error, you're not understanding us. Okay, so do not blow things up. Do not fight us. We will leave you alone. We just want to get to France. Okay? All right? Good. All right. And then the Belgians immediately started blowing up stuff again. And
Sacre bleu.
yeah, and the Germans were like, okay, listen, okay, I think there have to be consequences. You don't understand the consequences for your actions. We are going to have to punish you. And then they would do their thing. We're like, we are going to shoot 3 of you, and perhaps the rest of you will learn. And then immediately, like, the United States propaganda was like, extra, extra, read all about it. Germans killed 3 Belgians for no reason. And
Sure, read all about it. Germans killing people. But
And-
that is not what happened.
and they're like, no,
Killed them with warning.
we told them. We gave them the written memo. We wrote it down. It said, very official. It said, from the Kaiser, right? From the Kaiser's office. We kind of use that as an inside joke because we also write our grocery list on it. So it's kind of a fun, cute thing to have on the fridge from the office of the Kaiser. It's kind of cute. So we told them, we said, please do not blow things up. We will have to shoot you. And they blow things up. So what are we supposed to do? And then, then we...
It has the cute cartoon teddy bear on it because his grocery list is fun.
And then you'd be back. Then like, the propaganda just got worse and be like, extra, extra, read all about it. Kaiser's grocery list includes dead Belgians. Okay, this is simply not true. You are not understanding what we are saying, okay? Okay, you know what? Just shoot the rest of them. We'll figure it out later. Like, yeah.
This is wonderful. I've got to make sure to get this podcast up tonight.
Yeah, that was kind of like the way, like...
slap this thing together, put it up, boom, it goes live.
But now, we've lost that. Now it's the friggin' Russians are just like, yes, I gotta get my Russian accent going.
I will break you.
Yeah, do svidonya, comrade. Today, presidential candidate Hillary Clinton found to be shaking hands with Satan. And then, like... And people are like, well, god darn, man, if she's shaking hands with Satan, and that ain't good. That ain't good at all. And, like, you're like, dude, but it says from the office of Der Comrade. Like, clearly it's Russian propaganda, right? No, man, look. All I know is I'm all about Jesus, and Hillary is the devil. And how do we lose that? How do we...
I don't know. But... like I said, we need an Alex Jones of the left to just spin propaganda out there and take down the right's propaganda machine, or at least compete with them, right?
And I think that you've hit the nail on the head very succinctly. Here's the deal. From now on, every podcast will be ended with, what propaganda do we want you, the fans, to begin spreading about the right? And we are going to create our own propaganda machine. You with me, Patrick?
I am.
All right.
I think in honor of it being Release the Memo Day, we should start doing a Release the Memo thing, yeah?
Oh, that's great, because I do have a little, I've got little notes on my fridge that say from the office of the Kaiser, so that's perfect.
You know what I would like is just Release the Trump memo. And that's it, right? Like, there is no, now let's be clear, there's no memo, but if we get it to trend, everyone will start talking, what memo, what does it have? And then they'll speculate what it is. That's what Fox News did, right? Whenever there was a memo but they didn't know what it was, they were able to say, oh, it could talk about this, it could talk about that, everything's on its head, cats and dogs living together, it's chaos.
So here's my thing to you, my friend. I do believe that you're going too hard and too deep on this. The best conspiracy theories need to be super dumb, unprovable, and really easy to understand. You ready for mine?
I'm ready.
Trump's just a scarecrow in a blonde wig.
That's just wouldn't that just be the straw poking out through the top of the scarecrow?
Exactly. There you go, and that's your conspiracy.
Oh. Hashtag release the Trump memo.
Well, you guys have been great. I'm Peter.
I'm Patrick.
Tune in next time, because I think we're going to talk about the Bundys and the standoff that happened a while back, because I got a lot to talk about with the Patriot movement.
And speaking of President Oprah, Peggy Bundy, yeah, see, it all comes back together.
Man, I thought we had such a nice, just like, we're like, oh, this is good, and you're like, I got to shoehorn in Married with Children.
We really don't. I can cut it off right there before that.
I feel like the end of every podcast is like, your conspiracy's in, and then you're like, Al Bundy? Al Bundy, right? He hated his wife? He hated fat women?
Al, let's have sex. No, Peg.
I'm not even going to go into my whole thing. But, yeah, all right, so yeah, that's it for the podcast.
Is the
Trump.
podcast still going, or have we already stopped it?
Oh, it's still going.
Okay.
Or we can stop it. Either way. But let's do one more outro. Yeah, now we're talking about outros. Yeah, I think it ended a while back. Trump's a scarecrow. Hashtag release the Trump memo. This has been your
Been Pat
podcast.
and Pete in the morning.
Oh, I hate that one so much. All right, you ready to click off?
Clicking off the boss here, boss.